Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the 26th episode of Quickfire Crypto, where we keep you informed on a bi-daily basis. If you're interested in keeping up to date on all things crypto, then subscribe to the channel. We put out a new video every 12 hours. So what have we got today? This is more FTX, more Contagion, more fallout from this whole saga, and affecting Gemini now, which is the WINKLEVOSSES baby. So the saga continues. Let's jump straight in. So the article. So this is from Yahoo Finance, in their Bloomberg News section, and it starts off by saying, crypto brokerage Genesis is suspending redemptions at its lending business after facing what it described as abnormal withdrawal requests in the aftermath of the collapse of FTX. Genesis lenders include Gemini Trust Company, the cryptocurrency platform run by the Winklevoss brothers. Gemini said it has paused withdrawals on its lending program. Meanwhile, Singapore's state-owned investor Temasek International invested $200 million to $300 million in cryptocurrency giant FTX before its implosion and is preparing to write down the entire bet, people familiar with the matter said. And this is the same as Sequoia. If any of you have heard of Sequoia Capital, they also marked their investment down to zero. They had they were an early investor in FTX and Alameda Research, I believe. And this looks like it's kind of a run on the bank scenario, just like we saw with FTX. And it's where users change their behavior because of fear. They think, oh, well, FTX has gone down, I don't trust exchanges anymore, and they're right to think this, but because so many think it in a short space of time, they all decide to withdraw their money from the exchanges. And Genesis is suffering that now. And really this comes down to this. These are not banks. Banks are supposed to do this. Banks take your money and take deposits, lend the money out, and they are heavily regulated. Exchanges and brokerages should not be doing this. They should be taking funds. If you want to store your funds on them, in an ideal world, I advise everybody to keep money off exchanges, keep your crypto off exchange. But in an ideal world, in a regulated world, they would keep just like a regular exchange or a clearinghouse in the legacy financial world, they would take the money in and just sit on it. Not then take that money out and then get yield on it, which is what most of the crypto exchanges looks like they're doing. I'm not saying Genesis are doing this, but it looks highly suspicious. If you can't service those debts, if you can't service those withdrawal requests, why can't you? It's because they don't have the money. They've lent it out. They're not liquid. So they may have the money, but it's illiquid. So they've invested that in something else and it's locked up, or they've bought other things and now they need to sell stuff to get time. They need time to sell it. So it might not be as bad as FTX in that they didn't have anything after it all. But if they're suspending withdrawals, it usually means there's problems. And these are problems of liquidity. So let's continue. Meanwhile, Singapore's Excuse me, sorry, I've read that bit. Michael Novogratz, the billionaire founder of Galaxy Digital Holdings, said the crypto crisis could get worse as the industry braced for more contagion from the fall of Sam Bankman-Fried's FTX empire. The fallout from the crisis is threatening the future of crypto lenders like BlockFi Inc. and Voyager Digital. Well, Voyager Digital have already gone under. I know that's a few weeks old, and BlockFi is now filing for bankruptcy, so they're on the way out as well. Digital asset markets extended losses Wednesday morning, with Bitcoin down 2% at 10 o'clock New York time. So the key stories, it just goes over the key stories and developments of this story. Singapore's Temasek to write down over $200 million in FTX. There'll be loads and loads of venture capitalist funds, loads of investment funds that will be in this position. They may not be making it known right now because nobody wants to advertise that they're in trouble, obviously, because it just makes things worse. if you're an exchange now, you do not want to be telling people that you're in trouble or even having any doubt, putting doubt in people's minds, because if they do this, if they, this behaviour of this run on the bank scenario, if they do it, you could end up in real trouble and out of business. So it's dangerous. FTX leaves an empty black box where due diligence used to be. FTX hacker emerges with a $288 million stash of the token Ether. Mata Labs raised $200 million just before crypto market chaos. Mata Labs is the company behind the ZK Sync protocol. If you're not familiar with that, it's a layer 2 on the Ethereum blockchain. FTX's crypto kids came dangerously close to upending futures. Right, let's get in. Crypto brokerage Genesis is working with financial and legal advisors to explore options as it halts redemptions and originations at its lending business amid a liquidity crunch. The company hired Alvarez and Marcel and law firm Cleary Gottlieb Steen and Hamilton for advice, according to a spokesperson for Digital Currency Group, the parent of Genesis. J. Sidhu's bank says it dodged the crash. We'll see if it dodges it. This is early. It's all very well. Companies like to put out statements that are all very positive and that to assure and reassure users and creditors for obvious reasons. But that doesn't. Well, we've found out with everything with FTX that in FTX's case they lied. They have lied. FTX was tweeting that users' funds and assets were fine and that they were backed 1-to-1. Those were his words on one of his tweets. He's now since deleted that tweet, but that was what he wrote. And then it was literally the next day he filed for bankruptcy. So my advice is don't listen to what they say, look at what they do. No US regional bank stock climbed higher during last year's crypto mania than Customers Bank Incorporated. Now, the bank built by finance veteran J. Sidhu and other firms riding the digital wave are trying to distance themselves from the crisis created by the unravelling of FTX's empire. We have no exposure associated with FTX, Sam Sidhu. Now, you may not have any exposure to FTX, and I'm not getting I'm not having a go at this guy Sam, but just because you don't have any exposure to FTX does not mean that you are liquid, because Gemini had no exposure with FTX. But if users change their behavior, and if you have been lending money out and you do not have those assets liquid, ready to recompense users or your creditors, then this happens. Customers Bank Chief Executive Officer and J. Sidhu's son said in an interview, emphasising his bank's exposure was limited because it's a new entrant in the market. We're still building our business and taking market share, and people are migrating over to us. So again, it's all more positive talk, positive, but we'll see what happens here. The House Financial Services Committee will hold a hearing in December on the collapse of cryptocurrency platform FTX, according to a committee statement. FTX and celebrity backers sued. So FTX is being sued, and it's also its celebrity backers who were promoting the platform. I'm not sure why they're being sued, but maybe there's an argument that they knew something behind the scenes, that they were acting unethically or something like that. I'm not familiar with that, so I'm not sure. I can't comment. The exchange and Sam Bankman-Fried were sued by an investor who claimed the platform targeted unsophisticated investors, that's retail to you and me, the average person, using celebrities including Tom Brady and Stephen Curry, who are also named as defendants. Tom Brady being the American football star and Stephen Curry being the NBA star, who are also named as defendants. Winklevoss Gemini pauses withdrawals at 8:35 in the morning. Gemini Trust, the cryptocurrency platform run by the Winklevoss brothers, has halted withdrawals from its Earn program after partner Genesis Global did the same. This does not impact any other Gemini products and services, the company said in a statement. It may not impact it right now, but like I say, I think trust is at an absolute low at the moment, and after what's happened, it rightly so. So then at 8 o'clock, Genesis suspends withdrawals. Crypto brokerage Genesis suspending redemptions and new loan originations at its lending business after facing what it described as abnormal withdrawal requests in the aftermath of the collapse of FTX. So it looks like they've stopped their lending function on their brokerage website. The withdrawal request exceeded current liquidity at Genesis Global Capital, the lending arm, according to interim CEO Dara Islam. Genesis has hired advisors to explore all possible options, including raising new funding, and will deliver a plan for its lending business next week. Like I say, they should not be lending money out. It's not a bank. It's a brokerage in this case, but more often than not, it's usually tied to an exchange, or in the past week it has been exchanges. They should be sat on that money, liquid, ready for anybody that wants to take the money out. But because there's no regulation, there's no clarity, it's just too tempting for them to just sit on $1 billion of users' money and just have it sat there. It's just too tempting. They want yield on it. They are happy taking a risk. And why wouldn't they take a risk? It's not their money. It's your money, in fact. So that's what I've got for you today. I hope you enjoyed the coverage of this article. Remember, everybody, to subscribe to the channel. Join our team. We'll keep you updated on all things crypto every 12 hours. Smash the like button if you feel you got value from this video, and I'll see you all in 12 hours.